Way. Hey, folks, this is Jim Cathcart. Welcome once again to the Professional Experts Podcast. Today, we've decided to upgrade the podcast. I've got Danielle Ribeiro with me today. She is one of the 38 current certified professional experts. And I'll let her tell you her story, but we're going to be talking about how do you build a business as a professional expert? First question, what's a professional expert? It's a person who their business centers around what they do, not around what they built, like selling a mouse, for a computer, but selling your services as an expert, promoting yourself as a leading authority, building a reputation for yourself as a problem solver, as an excellent source that causes other people to be willing to pay to hear what you've got to say. So that's what being a professional expert's about. It's for coaches, it's for consultants, advisors, authors, speakers, researchers, specialists who focus on their expertise. So I've shown you through all these interviews on this podcast, probably, I don't know, 30 so far, different examples of how people built a career around their expertise. And you've seen the struggles they've gone through, and you've seen the uniqueness where some of them are primarily authors or researchers or motivators or coaches or consultants or training program designers and the kind of people that sell an ongoing program like that. Well, it's Danielle's turn. So welcome,
Yay.
Danielle. Thank you for
Oh,
joining me.
thank you so much. This is such an honor to be here, Jim. I am really excited about this opportunity.
Thank you. Well, we're in some pretty heavy company. When you look at the 38 that have joined us as certified
Yes.
professional experts, it's pretty heavy company. And I'm very proud to be at the center of all that, organizing it. By the
Yeah.
way, folks, let me just show you what it looks like when you get certified as a CPE. This is Danielle's
Oh,
CPE
such an
certificate
honor.
and medallion with her name on the back. CPE number 35, by the way.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
But who's
Amazing.
counting? So
I
Danielle, you know my background, and
do.
through Fuel, which we're both part of the faculty on myfuel.io website, which is a wonderful thing put together by CPE Todd Duncan and Alex Kutsishin, his partner. Um, so we know each other through Fuel, and we know a little bit about each other's background, but I want to dig into what your path was. When you decided you were a grown up at whatever age that occurred to you, and you decided you were going to do something with your life, uh, what direction did you take and what caused you to change if you did? In other words, walk us through that evolutionary process.
Yeah, absolutely. I came from a very humble background. Was raised by a single mom in Connecticut. She
Mhm.
was a CNA. She worked long hours. So a lot of the responsibility was on me to raise my brother, to make sure that things were going well in the household.
Now, you
So
said
I learned
CNA.
certified nurse. So she was a certified assistant, nursing assistant.
Okay.
So she, yeah,
Is that
she
like a LPN used to
it
be?
is. It's a one
Licensed
step down
practitioner?
from an LPN. So she
Okay,
was a great caregiver and used to do a lot of private duty cases,
got it.
which kept her away from the home a lot.
I bet.
It was my responsibility. And at a young age, I learned, okay, I have two roads. I have two choices. I could take the road that is easy, or I could take the road that's a little bit more challenging. And as a child, I saw how difficult it was for her.
Mhm.
And, there were years we really didn't have much under the tree. Some years we didn't even have a tree.
Yeah.
So I realized at a young age that if I want to do something with my life, that I have to take a little bit more of the challenging role, and I have to really push myself to be the best version that I could possibly be. So that's what I did. I went to school for dental assisting. I had a love for dental ever since I was a little girl. Originally, I wanted to be a dentist, but I started down the journey of I was a dental assistant for 10 years.
Hmm.
And during that time, I started to realize that I was finding myself loving sales. I loved closing big cosmetic dental cases. I loved the feeling I got when I landed a sale. And I said, gosh, I think that this is the direction I want to go. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to start looking for dental sales roles. So do you remember Monster years ago?
Oh
It was a
yeah,
platform we used
yeah,
to use to try to find jobs, right?
yeah.
Try to find jobs. So I composed my resume, very green, put it on Monster, and I received a call from a dental manufacturing company called Ivoclar Vivadent. And they said, we love your journey. We'd love to talk to you. Long story short, I ended up landing the Connecticut role. So I was the territory sales manager for Connecticut, Rhode Island, Western Mass,
Yeah.
and Albany, Hudson Valley, New York.
Hmm.
So amazing, right?
And this was in what, your 20s?
I was 30 years old. I was
Okay.
30 years old.
That was a big time for me too, because at 30 years old, I was in the field I'm in now, but in the early part of it, that taught me how to do all the rest of it.
Yeah, it's just all an evolution. So I started as the Connecticut rep and I started making great gains quickly. It was maybe a $600,000 region when I first acquired it. I doubled it in the first year. Then things just kept catapulting and evolving and growing. And they said, wow, she's really good at what she does. We're going to put her into a leadership role. So
Yeah, that
I
worked.
said,
So let's change her
okay,
to something else.
yay.
That's right.
I have no idea what that means, but
Mhm.
okay, great. So I ended up gaining the role of the Northeast Regional Sales Manager for for Ivoclar. And at one point, I had 17 reps that reported to me, anywhere from 17 to as low as 8 or 9. And I was able to grow and evolve this into up to almost a $30 million region
Ooh.
by the time I was ready to exit.
How did
So
you, let me ask a quick question. How did you feel about the new role in sales leadership compared to the sales role? Was it as satisfying?
it was not as satisfying my first year. I felt it was a tough transition.
Hmm.
And this is really why I do what I do today, because I feel there's support needed for those individuals that are transitioning.
Yeah.
It was a very difficult transition for me because I knew how to be a great rep, but now I had to learn how to be a great leader.
Hmm.
I knew how to do it myself, but now I had to learn how to motivate others to do what I could do, which again is why I do what I do today.
Yeah.
So, as time went on, I realized, I'm at a point in my career and in my life where I'm ready to grow more. And so believe it or not, it's only been a year, January 2nd, but on January 2nd, 2025, I resigned from Ivoclar after being there for exactly 20 years to the day.
Mm.
And I started my entrepreneurial journey.
Outstanding. So
Yes.
how are you positioned today? How do you identify yourself to the marketplace when someone
Yes.
says, "So who are you?"
So,
What?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a personal and professional leadership development coach. So
Okay.
I have a leadership development company called DMR Society.
Hmm.
And within there, I have my proprietary program called DMR Method.
Good.
So the DMR method is a combination of neuroscience and mindset mastery, and it helps individuals get over some of their challenges that are really truly between their ears. So it's for individuals that want to help, that feel like they're not necessarily in their purpose, have really found or discovered their purpose, and they need a little guidance, or it could be that they're challenged to take that step, that next step into their journey, their purpose, because they're fearful.
Mhm.
So we go through all of the challenges that we have between the ears, and we dissect and we put a program together to help them get past that.
Excellent. When I wrote an article recently, and it was about sales, and I said, uh, if your sales team is not performing at the level that you think it could perform, is it a skill problem really? In other words, do you think sending them to class will bring them back the way you want them to turn out? Or will that just add a new knowledge or ability to their quiver, so to speak, their arrows they could shoot? Uh, and the second question I posed was, do you think that it's an intellect problem? Are they just too stupid to be able to do it the way you think it ought to be done? Do you think it's a situational problem in that in this economy, who could succeed? So why even try? Or what do you think it is?
Hmm.
Do you think it might be that they've got all the other things they need and their problem is mindset? It's the way they're looking at what they do, the way they think about who they're doing it for and why they're doing it. And of course, the responses I got were strongly saying, yes, Jim and Danielle, you're right. It's mindset. It's like 99.77% mindset, and the rest of it can be worked out.
Because you could pretty
As
much
long
learn
as you're
anything.
making calls, there's
As
got to
long as
be
you're making calls and
shots on
you're
goal. Yeah.
of course, but a lot of it has to do with what you're priming your reticular activating system with, what you're telling yourself. We have what, 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day,
Yeah.
something crazy like that, and we just keep having these internal dialogue and communication, and you could talk yourself in and out of something very easily and very quickly.
Mhm.
So it's about understanding the bridge between the conscious and subconscious mind, and how to prime your RAS to actually work in your favor, so that your subconscious is starting to attract and bring in more of what you want.
Beautiful.
So I have put together a lot of subliminal recordings tailored to my clients, which work exceptionally well because they are layered with binaural beats and a subtle voice underneath, which is speaking directly to their subconscious. So they could be carrying on with their day and listening to this, and it's working in their favor
Yeah.
because it's helping. It's an immediate redirect with their thought
Mhm.
process. So all of a sudden they look around after listening to these subliminals for a while, and they're like, wow, I don't really understand this, but I feel happier, or now all these things are happening and I don't understand how that happened. And it's like the genie. Whatever your wish is my command. You just have to feed your subconscious with
Absolutely.
what you want. Yeah.
Yesterday, I was
So,
talking with John Mitchell, CPE, and he wrote the book, The Missing Secret, from the book Think and Grow Rich.
oh
And
yes.
after reading Think and Grow Rich like 20 times and toying with it from all the different angles, he came up with the part of the secret that's not mentioned in the book and wrote his own book about it. And he developed a technique that boils down to this: what you focus on in detail on a daily basis with emotion will show up in your life. What you focus on in detail, in other words, vividly seeing it, and this I hear you saying,
Hmm.
vividly seeing it and with emotion. Which emotion? Well, in his case, he's talking about grateful expectation. I
Yes.
expect it and I'm already grateful for it. Thank you, Lord, that it's
Yes.
coming my way. grateful expectation, doing that day after day. Before long, it starts happening, and you think, well, but I, I didn't even realize I was doing that. And
Yeah,
that's
it's
what I hear you
powerful.
saying. Yeah.
It's powerful because your reticular activating system knows what's important to you by how it makes you feel.
Hmm.
So it all encompasses your senses and your five senses and what you emotionally bring into a situation. That's what you're going to end up bringing more into
Yeah.
your life.
I love it.
So yeah, so it's very fascinating. I've always been just really fascinated by quantum physics and anything that has to do with neuroscience. It's always just been some
Hmm.
of my biggest passions and loves. So now it's interesting because the DMR method, I have a community, the DMR method community, and it's an online community. It's subscription based, but I actually have a whole segment on the principles from Think and Grow Rich, and we dive deep into each principle.
First edition.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Uh,
Wow.
that's one of the old originals. And
Wow.
this is yellow pages and everything.
Oh, I love it.
And
I
that was
love
a
it.
gift from one of my clients.
Oh, that's a really special gift. Really
He
special
said to
gift.
me,
Yeah.
he said, I have a book I think you'll enjoy. And he handed it to me and I said, I'm not worthy, like weighing in the world. No.
Yeah.
And he said, no, seriously, I want you to have this. And I said, for heaven's sakes, he said, no, it's a gift. Don't spoil it. Okay. Well, I found out later the value of that thing is in the thousands.
Oh,
First
sure.
edition, my gosh. But in application, the value of that message is in the millions.
In the
And
millions.
that's beautiful. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
By the
Yeah.
way, Dennis Waitley was a dear friend of mine. He passed away this past year. And Dennis, he's the first person that I've ever presented a posthumous certified professional expert to. And the reason I did that is we held a summit, expert summit in La Jolla last year. And I wanted very much to have him there, but he couldn't come because of his health. He was in his 90s. And so, I was unable to present it to him and have him as part of the meeting. Brian Tracy came, a lot of other people came. It was a great
Mhm.
meeting, but not Dennis. And then they notified me that he had passed away, and so I decided, it made great sense to acknowledge him in that way. But he was the first person that ever made me aware of the concept of a reticular activating system in our thought processes in our brain. And the psychology of winning was sort of one of the pioneers of the wagon trail that became the highway you're traveling on.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. And it's interesting, Jim, because traveling on a couple different highways. So I have the DMR Society as my personal brand and company, and then I also am a vested partner and the CSO because I had to put that corporate hat back on of a company called Voice ROI, which
Hmm.
is an AI based company where we're helping to build digital workers to help offset some of the biggest challenges within businesses. So I've positioned myself at this point as a multi-sector entrepreneur.
Hmm. Yeah. And that's a
Yeah.
good way to put it. That's
Yeah.
like when I started in this business in my 30s, I was a trainer, just straight up. That was it. I taught programs, other people's programs, and then started developing my own. But as I did, I had done uh, 400 of those programs in 2 years, after work, not at work, after work and
After
on
work.
weekends, doing it for civic clubs like the Junior Chamber of Commerce and groups like that. And so that's where I earned my stripes and it kind of honed my skills. And then I went into the marketplace as my own product, so to speak. The structure for certified professional expert covers five key areas. And the first one of those we've been talking about, and that is brand value message, not brand, excuse me, erase the word brand. Value message. What do you have? What do I have that's worth paying to access it, right? And that's what we've been talking about so far. And the niche in which you're operating is leadership development,
Hmm.
leadership of self and leadership of others.
Yes.
And the specialty that you bring to that is depth and breadth in the sales avenue of applying that. Of course, that's where the revenue, why rob banks? Because that's where the money is, right?
Yes.
Um, let's look at the second one. So the first is value message. What do you do that's worth paying for? Number two, what's your brand identity? You've told me about the name, the DMR
Hmm.
society and method and so
Hmm.
forth, and I think that's distinctive because it's obviously it's your initials, but it could also mean discipline, uh, methodology, and results, or uh, directors measure results. Or, yeah, I mean, you could play with it all day long and come up with DMR meanings, right? Dopey and Randy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's the DMR group and the DMR Society. What's your website, by the way?
www.dmrsociety.com.
Okay, D
Or
Delta uh,
Mary Roger
right,
Society.com.
DMR
Yeah.
Society.com.
Yes.
So folks, glue that in your brain. All right. What is your brand beyond those words? When someone says, so what is the DMR Society? How do you identify your brand as being different from anyone that does leadership training or sales training or something else?
So the DMR, just for clarification, does actually, it is my initials, but it also stands for Develop, Master, and Rise. So
Good.
those are
Develop,
those are the
master, and rise.
three.
I like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
develop, master, and rise.
Make it better,
And
become
and
the expert at it, and then
yes,
ascend. Yeah. Develop,
correct,
master, and
correct.
rise. I can remember that. Yeah.
And what I bring to the table and what my brand really does is it helps you to bridge the logical and the sub-logical mind. So you're taking the subconscious and the conscious mind and you're bridging it together. So I'm taking my experience as a leader,
Mm-hmm.
right? The heavy hat leader, as well as my mindset mastery skills and techniques and neuroscience, and combining it into a program and a system that helps you to really evolve and glow from the inside out, to be your best version, to find your soul's purpose. Because
Outstanding.
if we're not doing what we truly love, we're doing such an injustice to ourselves and to others.
Yeah.
So it's about allowing individuals to dream big and realize that it's not necessarily even a dream, because we're living in the 3D world, which is very heavy. The 3D is everything about your past.
Mm-hmm.
The 4D is where you really start to manifest, and the 5D is where you evolve and you encompass. But I help individuals kind of go through each process and understand that through being present
Mm-hmm.
and through manifestation and subliminal recordings and different techniques, you can be exactly what you want to be because it's already done, it's already there.
Yeah, that's the thing that I think most people miss is that once you've created the vision of what you want and clarified it, where you can actually focus on it, not health and wealth and happiness, because those are states of being. They're not things that you can achieve and sustain without interruption. But when you get your vision clear, it becomes the magnet that pulls
Correct.
you through the work you need to do, gives you the strength to develop the discipline to keep going until it's a physical reality.
Correct.
And think and grow rich. It doesn't say think and be rich. think,
Right.
and that
And
starts the
grow,
process, and keep thinking
evolving.
about that, and it becomes. Earl Nightingale was my mentor, my big mentor as far as degree of influence. And I listened to, I don't know, 1,000 hours of him on audio cassettes back in the day, and until it completely rewired my worldview and my self view for that matter. And his message boiled down to the strangest secret: you become what you think about. And of course, that's a little misleading if you take it straight up. The way I define it is become the person, the, the type of individual that would have the future you dream of. And the
Correct.
future you dream of will be your natural byproduct. So develop the qualities, develop the traits, the skills, the discipline, become the person your neighbors would love to have as a neighbor, your kids would love to have as a parent, etc. Your customers would love to have as a salesperson or, a provider. So your brand identity, I like very much because it's totally compatible with my own concept. We've got value message, we've got brand identity. Now, just to clarify for our viewers and listeners, the value message is what we have worth paying for. I've already said that. The brand identity is what distinguishes you from a crowd of people that do the kind of thing you do, right?
Hmm.
So the next one is optimum client. Who's the best, most perfectly suited customer for what it is you do? How would you answer that, Danielle?
So the perfect avatar for
Yeah,
me is
avatar.
an individual who knows that they have more to bring to this world, but they don't know how to get there. But they're open and willing to do the work. They're
Yeah,
willing
boy,
to
isn't
do
that
it.
a big deal killer, right? Because if you're not
Yes.
open and willing to do the work, then you're
Can't be
just dreaming.
closed,
Yeah,
can't be closed off because I
yeah,
can't do anything regardless of what I try to achieve. If you're going to prove me wrong constantly and say this doesn't work, then like you said, you are what you believe. That's exactly what's going to happen. It's
yeah.
going to be a big wall that we'll have to try to get through. So really just being open and willing to go through the process and evolve.
So let's look at it from a demographic point of view. Where do you find those? The kind that you're looking for the most? Would it be in the field of dentistry or the medical professions first?
Actually, I find a lot of my clients are digital marketers.
Hmm.
Digital marketers that really want to evolve and grow and start their own journey, their own business.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of clients that are digital marketers. I have clients that are business owners
Hmm.
that feel stuck, that feel like they've hit their ceiling, and we're learning that there is no ceiling. So we have to plow through. So I have a lot of small and large business owners, and I also have sales professionals in any industry, any vertical that wants to evolve to the next level, but
Hmm.
fear is getting in the way.
Yeah.
So, I really want to interview for that C-suite position, but why would they want me? Getting
Yeah.
over that imposter
Yeah.
syndrome stuff.
Not
I
enough
love working
syndrome.
with that kind
Yeah.
of stuff because you know, that's just a lot of clarity work and mindset,
And false
kind of
beliefs.
reprogramming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are my ideal clients, but I find them in many different areas and
Hmm.
many different verticals.
Okay, now we've gone from value message to brand identity to avatar of the ideal or optimum client. Not your dream client. It might be Taylor Swift is your dream client, but that's not what Danielle and I are talking about. We're talking about the client that's best suited for benefiting the most from what you do and are able to pay for it and willing to apply it as intended.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's not about just generating revenue. Like I've had people tell me, well, Jim, the purpose of business is to generate revenue or to make money. No, it's not. That's a function of business. The purpose
Correct.
of business is to make life better.
That's true.
And if you don't do it profitably, you have to stop. But if you do it profitably, everybody lives abundantly. So let's go to stage number four, category number four. What's your business model? And before you answer, let me throw out a few for people to think about. A business model could be training company. We sell seats in seminars, or we sell courses that people subscribe to, or we sell courses to enterprise, meaning large clients, where they buy with one check a training program for all of their people across all of their offices. A, a business model would be like when I started out, I was a motivational speaker. I was a gig worker looking
Mhm.
for tomorrow's gig, find a convention, stand on the stage. And that was my model. And the way I made most of my money was speaking fees. And then I developed training packages of materials, books, and recorded programs and such, courses. And I started selling those in the back of the room or after the talk to the company. And so that generated a second line of revenue. There are other business models like multi-level marketing and on and on and on. Some of your clients are digital marketers, and your other clients were dental offices,
Mhm.
and owners of multiple practices across a region. And so that different business model calls for a different set of sales skills and different set of sales tools and a different set of sales appeals, the way you communicate and say what you do. So currently, what would you say is the best way to describe your business model?
I'll say currently because I'm evolving into more motivational speaking
Oh,
for
good.
2026, which will bring in some of these other areas of revenue. But right now, I have a subscription-based program called the DMR Method. That's an online community-based program. I go live twice a month. I also have several different learning modules, built meditations,
Good.
constantly evolving and growing within that community. So
What's
that is
what's the entry level? What's the least expensive thing people
it's
can?
it's actually very reasonable. So right now I'm running an intro price of $111 for setup
Cool.
just to come in, which is very inexpensive, and
Yeah,
$37 a month. That's only going to go until the end of the year. Then the
yeah.
price is going to
But
double.
for the listener, when you're pricing it like that, you're counting on quantity sales. If you're pricing
Correct.
like that and making one or two sales, you're also starving, right?
Right.
So pricing like that is to reach a large body of people. If you say, well, for only $12,000, I'll
Yeah.
get started working with, oh, wait a minute, your market just went and shrunk
Yes.
to a very, very specific lane or niche and different type of appeal in order to make those sales.
Right.
Yeah,
This
and
is a wide open
neither one's
approach.
better than the other.
Right. This is a
Give,
wide open approach because
yeah,
I really want to bring in as many individuals as I possibly can into the community. Working with me, then there's also working with me one on one. Now that's a
yeah.
different animal. I have a 3 month program that is $7,000 to
Hmm.
work with me one on one.
Yeah,
But this program, people get a lot out of the community. It's fairly new. I just launched it, but it's starting to grow quickly. So I'm
yeah,
happy about that because I'm able to really, when you hear that price point, you think, wow, that's very reasonable, and I over deliver.
hmm,
And there's a very specific reason why I do that because my goal always is to be the best, to help individuals get to the best version of themselves, and then we evolve and grow, whether that's coaching one on one or that I work with their companies.
yeah. And that's the thing. The dental supply companies, like I've been hired by various groups like Benco Dental over the years and some
Yes,
of the
yeah.
others.
We used to work with
Uh,
Benco a lot.
and, the one box of medium toothbrushes, medium stiffness toothbrushes,
Yeah,
doesn't cost much money, maybe $111.
yeah.
But that's not what Benco's or any company is trying to sell to the dentist. They're trying to get the dentist to do one bit of business with them so that they also come back to them for their surgical instruments, for their x-ray machines, for their their tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I've got friends, and you do too, who have built an entire career just on that one lane.
Yes.
You look at Vanessa Emerson and what she's done in the dental community. Look at Jim and Naomi Rohde with Smart Practice.
Yes.
Look at Linda Miles, and look at um SCN, Speaking Consulting Network, and all of that's Ryan Vett.
Mhm.
All of those are industry specific, profession specific to dentistry.
Yes.
Wow, who knew there was that much opportunity? Well, if you still can find a yellow pages, some people will remember what that is, a phone
Yes.
directory. Go to the
Yes.
yellow pages, which is the commercial part of it, and flip back to the section that says dentist, and you will find page after page after page. And when you get tired from turning those pages, look up optometrists, and it'll be the same way for eye doctors, right?
Yeah.
So there's tons of opportunity, even if we only stay in one little narrow lane, as long as we
Yes.
choose the right lane, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now after business model, the last one is operating standards. What are some of the like the value items, the personal deep-seated values for you that you say, this hill I will die on? In other words, this is something we are about and we are committed to.
This is an interesting question because I feel I have a servant heart. So I'm always I'm always about what is best for everybody else, but not compromising my integrity and what is best for
Yeah,
me. So it's all about integrity, being true to yourself, being true to your message, and not veering because other people don't believe that you are capable of doing what you're doing. That's the most challenging thing, especially and I feel this very very and it embodies me a lot due to the fact that I am a new entrepreneur. I mean,
hmm,
if you really look at this, it's been a year, almost a year, a little shy. And what I've achieved in a year, people look at me and say, I don't even understand how that is possible. Nobody really believed that I could do what I have done in such a short period of time, but it's because I've always stayed true to myself.
yeah,
I've had integrity. I haven't shifted. I've stayed focused.
there you go.
Clarity is huge.
Hmm.
Same things I teach my clients, I have embodied.
I love that. And you say you've got a servant's heart. That literally the case, because your mother was a
Yes.
nurse who served others, who was dedicated to other people's welfare, and your heart carries her DNA. So
Yes.
you've got a servant's heart in that sense, and at the same time, you've got a servant's heart in that's what gives you joy. Same
Yes.
thing's true for me. My company, my everything in my world's around nature and growth. The acorn is my
Mm,
company metaphor. I use this as a logo and the symbol, and it's got a
yes.
stem connecting to the past, a cap that holds the seed and protects it until it's ready to grow on its own. And then it contains all the future forests of oak trees in it already. So
Oh,
that's
I love
nature.
that.
Well, the metaphor there relates to your nature because my company slogan is helping people grow. The growth metaphor, you grow from what? From your seed, not from some other kind of seed. You can't
Right.
change to a pine cone if you're an acorn. You're going to be
Yes.
an oak, but either a very unimpressive one that looks like a bush or one that's mighty oak that fosters acorns for generations. So it's possible, but only by being you. And so
Correct.
my company is founded on that concept. And one of the things I do in writing when I'm booked for a speech is I send um, what I call my service commitment, and it's a speaker's pledge. It's in my book that I think you have a digital copy of my book, What to Do When You're the Speaker.
Hmm.
And in the back of that book is 3 or 4 pages that have my speaker's pledge. And one of the things, the only thing in it that's in bold type is this: I will tell you the truth 100% of the time,
Yes.
even if the truth is ugly. I didn't put that part in print, but but I'll tell my clients the truth 100% of the time, even if it means I'll lose the account,
Yeah.
because I'd much rather do damage cleanup from the truth than try to constantly clean up behind a lie.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
So you and I share a very, very similar worldview, and we got compatible spirits, so to speak.
Yes.
But we looked at value message, we looked at brand identity, looked at ideal or optimum customer, then we looked at business model and operating standards. When a person is really, it has what you were talking about, which is integrity. Then integrity means integral, integrated. It means everything fits together perfectly. If it fits together perfectly, then nothing doesn't belong. There's not one little exception that's pointing a different direction. Everything fits together. Integrity. When we know someone has integrity, we feel safe to invest our trust. People say, well, you should build trust. You can't build trust. You can only earn it. And you can't even guarantee you'll get it then, because
True.
trust is only provided by the giver of the trust.
Correct.
Yeah. And
Yes, I love that. Yes.
how do we deserve or earn trust? Integrity
That's right.
with a giving spirit behind it. And that makes people want to do business with us. And
Yes.
that I think is what makes you a very worthy and proud representative of the certified professional expert designation.
Such an honor. It's such an
Thank
honor.
you. Thank you.
Yes.
Do you have any questions for me or any key points you want our listeners to pick up on that maybe we hadn't gotten to yet?
I one thing I really want to mention, and I think it's important, is if you're listening to this and you've been in a place of, that gray area in your life, it doesn't really matter where it is in your life, knowing that there is a journey to get you to exactly what you can see on the other side. It's just a matter of finding the tools and having the support and the people behind you to help lead you there. So if you're ever in a situation like that and you want to even call, even, email me, I'll be happy to provide my information. You can have a conversation and see if it's something that, either I know somebody that could guide you in the right direction, or maybe we're a good fit for each other.
So they can go to dmrsociety.org, no, .com,
.com, yeah, DMR, yep,
dmrsociety.com,
yep.
and just go to the contact
Yep, Danielle at
link and
dmrsociety.com.
send
And,
you a
and
direct
reach out to
message.
me. I am
Yeah.
very responsive. I will get back to you. And I really think it's important, especially because we're in a season and I'm seeing more and more of this where people are just unhappy in their current roles. And it's all encompassed. It's taking over their emotional state, their personal state, their family. It's really
Showing
affecting
up in their
everything,
relationships. Yeah,
every
exactly. Yep.
relationship. And it doesn't have to be that way. It's just about finding, if you have an idea of where you want to go, even if you necessarily are not 100% sure, we can get you there. It's
Hmm.
just following the process. And you and I both know, because we've both done it, it's just a matter of being clear on, getting that clarity down.
Exactly.
Once we have that clarity down, we're able to navigate the roadmap to get there in the blueprint.
Hmm. I my belief about the purpose of life, and the reason I think of that is that on a Facebook post I saw either this morning or yesterday, it said, "What's the purpose of life?" And there were all kinds of superficial answers, and I've thought about that for years, and I mean, really thought deeply about that. And I believe it depends on what level you're asking the question. But in the universal sense of things, the purpose of life is to live fully. What is the life purpose of a virus? To spread as far as it can spread because it wants more life, right? Even
Right.
if its life hurts other life, it wants more life. What's the purpose of a plant? To live fully, to
Correct.
to spread out, spread its wings or its its roots and leaves as much as it can, and to experience as much of life as possible. Well, the same thing for you and me. The purpose of us existing, not in a philosophical or religious sense, but just in a practical view, is to take this entity that we've been given to travel in
Mm-hmm.
and to make the absolute best we can of it.
That's
That
correct.
doesn't mean become a bodybuilder unless that's your chosen path. It doesn't mean, being beautiful, even if it requires artificiality for as long as you can, because that leads to some gruesome results anyway. Uh, it means living mentally, physically, spiritually, family wise, interpersonally, financially, emotionally, living as fully as you can live.
That's
There's
correct.
a passage in the Bible that I love. It's John 10:10. And the bottom line of that is, I've come that they would have life and have it more abundantly. Well, that was Jesus speaking in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
But think of that on just on a personal basis, not a religious basis, to have life more abundantly. Does that deny anybody else life? No. The more
Not at
you
all.
become, the more you contribute to the world. I love Zig Ziglar's quote:
Oh, yeah.
you can get everything you want in life if you just help enough other people get what they want.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
So,
right.
folks,
Amazing.
you've met Danielle Ribeiro, and I think it's time you got to know her. So, I suggest strongly that you go to dmrsociety.com and flip it. Well, first explore a little bit and then click on the contact and drop her a note and tell her, first off, you enjoyed the podcast today. Second, ask her whatever question is weighing on your heart, and I'll bet you she's going to have a pretty profound answer for you. You don't have to be thinking about spending money. Just reach out to her or me or any of us,
Yes.
certified professional experts,
That's
and
right.
ask your questions. It may be that the best answer for you is for one of us to say, you know who has that answer?
Correct.
So and so does, and that's
Right.
free or
That's
inexpensive,
right.
right?
That's right.
Yeah,
Amazing.
there
Yes.
you go.
We're
Your
here to
job is
help.
to grow.
Yeah,
And tell
exactly.
me again what the DMR, what's your structure for the use of that metaphor?
Develop, master, rise.
Develop, master, and rise. That's beautiful. So you go from competent to excellent to expert.
That's correct.
Danielle, thank you. I appreciate you joining me today, and I hope the echoes from this go for a long time and then
Thank you,
come
Jim.
back to us in waves of inquiries.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been such an honor and a pleasure to be here with you and be part of this beautiful and impressive community filled with some of the most amazing, talented, and more just heartfelt souls that I have ever met. So I am so grateful.
Thank you. Well, since we're just prior to the holiday season here, have a wonderful holiday
You
and
as
a new
well.
year. And I'll
Thank you.
see you soon, I hope.
Thank you, Jim.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.